With great power comes great responsibility, were the words of Ben Parker, Peter's uncle who passed on tragically. In this video, Spider-Man's powers are morphed with that of the Hulk. So let's see how that statement played out, if indeed Spider-Man becomes all-powerful in that way. So here goes. Now, Bruce Banner is awakened yet again from one of those Hulk transformations, and as usual, he doesn't remember anything. He may have killed someone or tore down an entire building, but it doesn't matter now, because the Hulk and himself are two distinct and separate entities, and Bruce will not resort to blaming himself for what his alter ego, the Hulk, has been up to in the last 12 hours. Bruce starts to talk to himself about how he doesn't get what just happened. He has woken up in a crater big enough to take 3 men. As such, it would seem that Hulk landed badly from a great height. As Bruce starts to gauge his surroundings, he hears the voice of Spider-Man, and this complicates things even further. They are both clueless as to what's going on. Then suddenly, the spider sense tingles, and Spider-Man becomes alerted to danger. He asks Bruce to stand behind him as he looks around frantically for the danger to manifest. It eventually does, but not in the way that they both expected. It turns out that Spider Sense is pointing to Spider-Man himself. Then the strangest thing happens, and Spider-Man starts to turn into the Hulk, all green and monstrous and sort of stupid too. Strangely enough, Bruce doesn't seem surprised. He tries to talk to Spider-Man, or is it Hulk, or whatever this is. He says Spider-Man should not be scared, but Spider-Hulk replies with 3 words only. Not scared, angry. Then he racks his brain and manages to say one more word, and it is the name Osborn. Before Bruce can say or do anything else, Spider-Hulk throws a web and swings away. It's even a miracle that the web can hold him up as he swings through the city to find Osborn. Bruce immediately calls it in to inform someone that Spider-Hulk is on his way to where they are. We can only begin to imagine what this version of Spider-Man is capable of. His strength alone will be the combination of Spider-Man and Hulk, where both individuals are super strong by themselves. Then you can also throw in Spider-Man's flexibility and agility with the Hulk's jumping powers, and then you'd have a pretty unstoppable superhero. Spider-Hulk eventually gets close enough to this so-called Osborn, and as expected, the Fantastic Four show up. They try to reach out to Spider-Hulk, but he seems intent on smashing stuff. Spider-Hulk attacks the Thing first, and they exchange a few hard-hitting blows. The Thing tries to put Spider-Hulk to sleep with a sleeper hold, but Spider-Hulk maneuvers in such a way as to free himself. The Thing tries to appeal to the young man behind the suit and mentions Peter by name. At least, Spider-Hulk is still sensible enough to know that his identity is supposed to remain a secret and shouldn't be out there, let alone being spoken out loud by the Thing, who gets a headbutt for his indiscretion. The Thing was just the first wave as the other members of the crew come together to contain Spider-Hulk. Reed Richards wraps his elastic self around Spider-Hulk hoping to tie him down. Then, Susie contains him in one of her bubbles, before the Thing knocks him out cold. The next thing you know, they are back at the beginning where the crater was. Bruce and Mr. Fantastic are in a debate as to what should be done going forward. Bruce tries to say that Spider-Hulk ought to be contained, and Reed reassures him that they have everything under control. Reed even retorts that Bruce ought to be the one to be arrested. They eventually settle for an abandoned military site on an isolated island. Spider-Hulk reverts back to just Spider-Man after the green stuff has waned. He doesn't remember much as everyone tries to reassure him. The Fantastic Four and Bruce answer his curious questions. They even admit that his mask was on him all the time and that no one saw Peter's true identity. They all hang for a little while before Reed decides they have to be on their way. No one wants to see Spider-Hulk in all his glory come to life again. You'd agree that would be dangerous to whoever was perceived to be in his way. So, Mr. Fantastic and the group calibrate the cameras and get going. Bruce decides to stay with Spider-Man against all common sense. The Thing insists that it ought to be him staying, but Bruce reminds him that Spider-Hulk might still remember how badly he got hit by the Thing, so even the Thing is not safe. And Bruce is hedging his bets on the fact that Spider-Hulk will not dare to harm him. So the evening comes as Bruce and Spider-Man converse a little. Spider-Man says he would rather not be transformed into the Hulk again and confides as much, but it's inevitable at this stage. Then the darkness comes and Spider-Man starts to change into Spider-Hulk. It's almost like a vampire or a werewolf phenomenon, but we don't get to see Spider-Hulk in his rage that night because we are fast-forwarded to the following morning. Spider-Man wakes up and the first thing he does is call out to Bruce. And the first thing Bruce says when he re-emerges is to reassure Spider-Man that he had a good smashing workout through the night but held back when it came to hurting Bruce. As they talk, the Fantastic Four return to the island. The Human Torch wants to know if Spider-Man wrecked all that havoc with or without his pants. Spider-Man says no, or at least he doesn't remember. On the other hand, Bruce blurts out a yes, and Spider-Man is embarrassed that Bruce may have seen him without his clothes. Dr. Reed immediately gets to the business of the day and shows everyone some footage gotten from New York. In it, Spider-Man and the real Hulk are making their way through the city when they are confronted by none other than Loki. It's been a while since Loki and the Hulk locked horns, and we're not referring to the ones on Loki's crown. As such, there is no love lost between those two, and Loki is now surprised that the Hulk can communicate in English quite well. So Loki, being the reformed character that he is now, decides to do one better for his old nemesis. With the help of magic, he rids Bruce of the gamma radiation, but the sad part is, the green stuff ends up inside Spider-Man who is close by. After watching the footage, they all decide to pay Loki a visit. They meet him in the middle of having a hot dog snack and he tries to defend his actions. They all urge him to reverse the spell, but he tells them it's not that straightforward and that it could make things worse. In short, Loki can't help them, so now they must return to science, and who better to science the heck out of it than the Fantastic Four? That is, in addition to Bruce Banner's intelligence, as well as the aspiring scientist in Peter Parker. They soon start to brainstorm in the lab. At first, Bruce is not so sure if Peter Parker should be with them, but then he surprises Bruce by pulling out a Sharpie and writing some complex equations on the whiteboard. It's not long before they figure things out and come up with a plan. They decide to recreate a gamma blast in a sort of containment box. Susie and Reed set the timer for 6 that evening and leave with some instructions for Peter. As the day counts down, Peter asks Bruce why it has to be him that keeps the Hulk. It could just as well be anyone, right? And Spider-Man already seems to be doing a generally good job of being a green beast. It seems Spider-Man is beginning to get the hang of being a Spider-Hulk and doesn't mind it anymore. But Bruce cuts him off and insists it has to be him that carries the burden, because that is really what it is, a burden. When the clock elapses, Peter presses the switch and the room goes boom and green. Bruce's Hulk now emerges and challenges Spider-Hulk. They punch the hell out of each other, and no one wants to concede to the other. But then Bruce taps into himself and gets really crazy. You can see the gamma lightning sparks emanating from his green body. He grabs Spider-Hulk by the neck, and the raw energy coming out from Bruce is so strong that it neutralizes whatever gamma radiation is left inside of Spider-Hulk. They both now revert back to their human forms. Spider-Man hands over a pair of pants to Bruce, and they congratulate themselves for fixing things. They also realize it's still nighttime, and Bruce could very well change into the Hulk at will. But when he does, he refers to Spider-Man by his real name. Spider-Man is surprised that the Hulk has seen through him and knows his real identity. The Hulk explains it by saying even Bruce is not privy to that information, but on the other hand, the Hulk is. And that is because the Hulk remembers Spider-Man's kindness when he once revealed himself as Peter. They soon get back to the beach on this isolated island and part ways as the Hulk wades into the ocean water on his way back to civilization. Spider-Man just looks on at his old friend walking away. So now Spider-Man experienced what it felt like to be in the Hulk's shoes, all thanks to Loki and his carefree magic for making that happen. And even greater thanks to the Fantastic Four from fixing the mess afterwards with some science. Apparently, science can beat magic under the right conditions. Now, if you could become anybody for one day, who would you choose? Bill Gates or Putin?